Welcome to the fucking show.
Welcome to this week's edition of Money Mondays, presented by the Smartalecs Podcast. I'm hosting today, guys. It's your girl Tasha. It's not John. Don't be confused. It's okay. But today, I have my other co-host here, Angry Al. He's happy today.
I'm okay.
That's always a good thing. That's good conversation right there. And we have a special guest, our nice investment guru, Mr. Immanuel Roddy. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem.
How you doing?
Not too bad. How about y'all?
Doing pretty good. I definitely have been watching you. I know I watch you on Facebook all the time, and you always put your little nuggets out there, and you be hating on people all the time. I told y'all, it did not tell you yet, and I be like, okay. So we need to be serious about this investing thing and get this money. So just tell us all about the whole, how did you get started with investing? Because my thing is, I feel like black people more so just don't understand it. And they're trying to jump in it now, but it's more so a trending thing. More so I understand it.
Right.
So, like, how did you get started? Was it in school? Was that something you went to school for?
No. Actually, probably around, I think the very first time I started like really paying attention to it, I was at Tri-C, and I was taking a business class, and we had a project where we had 10, it was like play money, but we had 10,000, we had to choose 3 stocks and hold them for the entire semester. So from beginning to end, we had to chart, we had to mark, open, close, highs and lows for these 3 stocks. So the 3 stocks I chose, I still remember them. I had Amazon, Nike, and eBay, because the way that the company performed at the time, like Amazon, I thought would do what it's doing. I thought eventually that business model would take over.
But it really
this was 2003.
Okay.
And then Nike is Nike, and I'll get to why I chose Nike and eBay. But I was positive on all 3, and I think Amazon is what really, like, I think I almost doubled my money in that semester. So I think I ended up at like 19,850 or something like that. But that's when I really started paying attention. I was like, man, I could really, make some money without doing anything.
Right.
Just understanding, what companies are doing and, the long-term trend of the market, which is always up. Just put my money in, things I believe in, and companies I see that, I believe are going to grow. And just get in.
Would you say you're the type that watches the news all day? Do you have to be that type of person in order to be? Because that's what I would think. I got to be glued to this thing to watch this ticker go past all day long.
I think a lot of people, if you're trading, like day trading in and out, stuff like that, then sure. But for people like you and me, my best advice is to just invest in what you like. So if you swear by a brand, why don't you own that brand that you swear by? Everybody, I know people that have certain car brands that they trust over others. Why aren't you investing in those car brands? So if you're, a Cadillac person, why aren't you investing in GM? If you're a Mustang lover, you should have some Ford. So to me, that's the best way. And that's the way you can do it without, knowing what a company's doing. Now, if it's a company you're not familiar with, you think it may have some growth over time, then do your research on the company. What's the business model of the company? What does the company foresee themselves doing in the next 5 or 10 years? And then make a decision,
So I'm going on these websites and I'm looking this information up, or I'm just checking out what their current, because like I'm just thinking about like the average person because you got to put the work in, right? You got to do the work. So it's like it's not something that's just gonna be you wake up and it, just does it by itself. You just, like I said, wait for somebody on Facebook to say do this and hope for the best. You got to do the work if you really want it to work for yourself. So it's like you get the idea of, because when I think about it, I feel like I need to know I guess just like the future outlook, because it's not something that's now.
Right.
These are long-term investments, right?
Right.
Is there anything that's short-term about it that I can give out, get quick
Cash,
flow from?
With stocks, I don't recommend it. I've always said that stocks, you can, but it's not. It's you're more likely fail than not, because unless you're doing what you said, you're constantly looking at the charts and looking at what the company's doing. Stocks move really quickly, so you would need to be on small time frames to even make a lot of money with them. So I always encourage holding stocks, because that's where you're going to make the most money from, and then you can just invest as you see fit.
What's your oldest stock that you've held so far?
Probably Nike.
So so would you, if somebody has some free money,
Well, what I tell them about?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well,
It's 3.
And then how much would you say? Like, just to start off.
What you can afford
Anything.
to buy, because right now you don't even have to own entire shares now. You can have a fraction of a share.
That's a good one.
So
you explain that. How did is that called a split? Is that right?
So
how would that work?
I think they started that because of the whole Bitcoin rush, because who has $50,000 to buy one Bitcoin token? So what they did with the stocks now is you can own a portion of a share of the stock that's equivalent to however much money you want to put in it. So Amazon's trading at around 3,000. So you can buy a portion of Amazon, which will give you a fraction of a share equal to the amount you want to contribute. So if you want to put $200 in there to give you, that value of that share of that stock. So real game changer for people who want to become part of these, tried and true companies that don't have the money to buy entire shares.
Well, what about because I do a little bit of investing, and I heard about like ETFs. Can you explain what like ETFs are? Because I heard they were like a group of different companies that basically come together and just have one stock, and then you can invest in that stock. So can you explain that just a little bit?
That's exactly what they are. What they are that they allow you to invest in multiple companies without doing it yourself, without going and buying all these different shares in all these different companies. So the main one that I love is Investico QQQ,
I heard about QQQ.
So they have all the giants. So Tesla, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft. I mean, whatever company that's big is in QQQ.
So what if by chance one of those companies does super horrible one year or whatever? I don't know how that works. Does that affect the portfolio?
Yes, it does. So
is it terrible? Like, is that a point where do I now get a chance to pull out some of these that do I get to remove that bad one from?
No, because you invest in it as a whole. So
I have no way of.
So if that company's doing bad and it goes down, and and the ETF goes down because of that bad performance of that specific company, you just have to hold. So it's not one of those where, oh man, that company's not doing well, so I want to pull my money out of that company. That's not how it works. It's all of them combined, right?
Gotcha.
But as you can see from the last year, QQQ probably tripled. So.
Shoot, you naming some great names.
Yeah,
I mean, you're doing nothing less,
Exactly. Like any company that, those are like when I really started following QQQ, we had every company that I watched already. So it was a way for me to diversify without
investing singly as well as a whole. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah,
that's dope. So, like, what platforms would you suggest to start with for a beginner, and what do you use now?
I like TD Ameritrade.
I like TD Ameritrade too.
TD Ameritrade for like serious investing. Just because a lot of these platforms don't have all the stock. So people are doing it with Cash App and Robinhood, and those are good, but they don't have everything. TD Ameritrade has pretty much anything you want as far as companies you want to put money in. But you know, you can have Robinhood, you can have Cash App, however you want. You know,
right, getting started is just getting started.
Right. So, but people think you need a certain amount of money to start with these companies, and you don't. And you can start with no money and then just fund your account later. But the point is to, you know, get started.
What did you think about the whole GameStop debacle?
That was
that was dope though, man.
Everybody, man, so many people was asking me about GameStop. Now I called the AMC, and I'll get to that in a minute. But GameStop, like I was telling people who kept asking me about it, there was no rhyme or reason for GameStop to do what it had done. Unless, you know, but then when I heard what they were doing, then
it was purposeful, right?
If you have a bunch of volume, it's going to drop the price of the stock. So if you convince millions of people to buy something, it's going to, the stock is going to explode. But looking at GameStop's financials and what GameStop's have coming, I was like, that makes no sense because, you know, GameStop deals with gaming systems, video gaming. Gaming is moving more to streaming. People aren't even going in the store to buy the game no more. You could download it right to your system. So I'm like, that doesn't make any sense at all why GameStop just did that. But, you know, I saw that was like a big collaborative effort of retail traders to buy that stock and AMC and drive those prices up. So, you know, if people were on it, you could do it with anything. And then that was during quarantine,
correct? When did it go on?
No, that was beginning of this year when that happened.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay, because I was about to say, I'm thinking Dogecoin thing is more recent.
Right, that is. That's happened like within the last couple months.
Okay.
Now with AMC, which was in that same thing, I told, you know, whoever I could to buy it because it was sitting, you know, teeter-tottering between $6 and $2. Now we know the only reason AMC isn't making money is because of the pandemic. So once things become back to normal, stock price is gonna go up because it's gonna make money.
Right.
So I told people to buy it because looking at the chart of AMC, their high is like, you know, $39. So if you get out at that median of $20, you have made a lot of money. So when AMC did its thing, I think it got up to like 22, and then went back down but that was, you know, broker manipulation because they stopped people from buying it.
Yeah.
And then once you stop people from buying it, now you have to sell it and drove the price back down. So, but I say AMC would go back to 20 because that's the median of where it's always been. And the market has a history of just repeating itself. It's just one big wave. So, you know, people get hesitant because they're in a, you know, because the stock is in a downtrend or whatever. But if you look at what that stock has done over time, in addition to doing its research on it, like when I go to the movies, I only go to AMC movies theaters. I don't like any other movie theaters because I think AMC gives me the most for the amount of money I have to spend. So, and when I go to AMC theaters, they're always packed. They're always sold out. So, me knowing that, I was like, well, I'll buy it. You know, it's not $4 for something that was going for $39. It's a steal.
Yeah, you gotta buy low.
Yeah. And I mean, even if I lose, it's $100, $200. People get too attached to these stocks, and if they go down, they were like, oh, I need to get out. And it's like, just let the market do what it does. It doesn't care about your financial situation or what you want to happen with it. It's going to do what it do. Just trust the market.
But so how do I make it work for me? Put me in a situation where I have, my credit is horrible, I really don't have money, but I want to get into this type of situation. I put a little bit of money there. How do I leverage that in real life? Do I get to, when I file my taxes at the end of the year, this is the value that I have. I don't have this in cash, but I could cash out if I needed to.
Right.
So, like, how does that play out, and how do I get to leverage that in daily life? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, from the tax benefit of investing is that whatever you invest, all the way up until you actually pull it out, it is tax deductible. So if you invest $5,000, $5,000 is tax deductible for you, and it doesn't become taxable to you again until you actually cash the stock out. So even if say you have a TD Ameritrade account, you put in 1,000 and you make 10. You're not taxed on that 10 until you actually pull it out and it goes to your bank account. Not as long as it stays in TD Ameritrade, you're not taxed on it. Once you start pulling it to your pocket is when it's taxed.
So this is how when people have made investments with their kids or something like that, and they've been investing since the child was born,
right.
And now they want to put money on college funds.
Right.
I want to cash out on one of these stocks that has been growing, and that's where I get this money from.
Right. Yep.
That's how it works. Okay.
Yep.
So it's a long-term thinking thing, and that's what I think I want to get people to understand, because I feel like people want to get into stock, but they also feel like it's an instant payday almost, and it's not realistically supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be something that is for long-term goals. So, I mean, I feel like the black family had never really had this idea of wealth, and we've never learned how to create it, and we're just now getting to learn the facts about it, even though it's been here from day one. So it's like for people like you to be able to break it down and then want to give you that information for free, I think that's a valuable resource. So it's like I'm definitely grateful for the knowledge that you're spreading today.
And I ain't gonna lie, it's a long-term investment, but once again, man, I mean, it's your money. You do what you want to do with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you see some shit and it's hitting and it's
you
going up, and you like, I'm about to
right.
cash out and get this
That's
$2.
do it.
Shit. You do what you gotta
whatever
do.
your situation is.
Especially if you got bills and shit that you need to pay.
Indeed.
Shit. So, but it's definitely good for black people, period, because once again, like you say, we can't be scared of it. I think it's more of people being scared to just, oh, what if I lose my money? What happened? You know, like you say, you just gotta ride. You just gotta ride it out and try to get it. If you lose money, but if you invest right and you do your research, then it's really, you know, you can really make some good money and not lose a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? If you see that the incline is consistent, you're going to always see dips, but you always see it go back up. You might see a dip, you see it go back up. So I think that, you know, for black people, period, is definitely something that everybody should be doing. Like, I don't even have really a savings account. Like, I put all my money and my savings into, you know what I mean, into stocks. So, because they say like a savings account that it doesn't gain any interest, it doesn't make any money for you. You basically just have money sitting there that's just sitting there, where you could actually have it in the stocks, either making some money or you might lose some money. But like I said, if you do some research, you'll be making money, not losing money.
It's funny you brought up savings accounts, because you know every time I go to the bank, I laugh because they'll have a flyer and they'll say, you know, pay, you know, get 2% on $20,000 of, you know, if you purchase a CD for $20,000, and think about how little of a percentage that is when you could put your money in something else, that same 20, and get 8, 10, 12, 15%. Like, why would I settle for the 2? You know, and a lot of us are conditioned to think that banks are out to help you. And banks aren't out to help you. Banks are out to help themselves. Mm-hmm. The main purpose of a bank is to make itself money. That's why you get charged all these fees for having your money held, you know, just to be honest about it. And I think us need to get in the habit of always having our money in things that are making us money all the time.
Exactly.
Instead
making
of,
our money work for us.
Like you said, just having money that's just being held where they're loaning out 10 times what you have in there. Because they can legally do that, and now they're making 10, 12, 15% off your money that you put in there, and they're paying you 0.01%. You know, so never think that the bank is your friend. They are not. They are only out to service themselves. Doesn't matter which one.
Have you ever had a company that you invested in that actually paid out dividends?
AT&T pays out dividends. I think they're one of the best ones that pays it out.
So you actually expect it? Do you, like, are you at that point where you kind of expect it?
No, I mean, I just let it roll over into making me more money, you know. Like, investing is more of it's a lot of psychology with it, where you have to not, you can't get too emotional about it, you know.
Right.
And I think, you know, a lot of people will see a big dip, and then they'll be like, oh my God, the stock is going, you know, it's going to hell. And it's like, no, it's doing what it does. People need to understand why dips occur, you know.
Right.
Dips occur for a couple of reasons. The main reason being people selling, you know. So if like Bitcoin, for example, 63,000, then it dropped to 45 a couple of days ago. People are selling it because they made so much money when it broke 20.
Right.
So when it broke 20, it just kept going up. So people are going to lock in their own profits, you know. That it's the logical thing to do. Mm-hmm. So that's going to drive the price down because people are getting out. And then when it goes down, they get back in. So
and it's down.
Now you can buy more shares because you took the profits and you bought back in. Mm-hmm. So once you understand that and don't get too emotional about it, you know, you can make money as an investor, and it doesn't take a lot of money to even get started. So and you have stocks that are
anybody can do it.
Less than $1. You have stocks that are a fraction of a penny right now.
Is your kids doing anything with it?
You know, they had a financial class, and I had to work, but I wanted them to do the Zoom, and I never got a chance to sign them up. My son is good with his money. My daughter needs some work.
It's always the girl. It's always the girl.
But you know, she needs some work. But you know, I want them to understand the importance of being in control of your own money. Right. Don't let your job control you. And I think a lot of us do that because we don't have nothing to fall back on if we don't have that job.
Indeed.
Thanks.
That's a beautiful note to end on. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much again for Roddy just coming on the show.
No problem.
Dropping your knowledge.
Thanks for having me.
Indeed. We may have to have you again. You know, the people have questions. So
I'll be back.
Seek, you know, we have to come get you again. But thanks again. Where can they catch you on Instagram, Facebook? If you
Roddy30 on Instagram. I'll have a lot that I'm getting ready to roll out next week. I'll let you know, and you can let your audience know. I have a couple YouTube channels I'm in the process of building where I'm specifically talking about finance and investing, working from home, because again, we put too much of our lives into these companies where they're taking too much of our time.
They don't care nothing about us either.
It's time to get your own life back and make money on your own terms. Doing what you love doing. So
that's the move.
When everything's done, I'll give you all the info and you can give it to the audience. I'll be glad to
we'll post your information, man.
Drop some knowledge for you guys.
Indeed. So you would definitely get the information here. So just stay tuned for that. Always something to come up. So I guess we're gonna let you go, and we're gonna come back with the second half. If you want to say, I don't know, but we're gonna have the second half of the show where we just do our little topics like we normally do, and continue from there. So you gonna pause it? You ain't even.
All right, peace.